Are you hyper-vigilant? When you go to a restaurant, have you got your back to the wall? Do you choose a table at the far corner, watching the entrance? When you come home, are you looking into the shadows to see if there's any danger? Are you always checking the doors, locks? In this video, we're going to explore the following questions. Is my hypervigilance a remnant of my SADF training? Is it normal? And how do I maintain the balance between hypervigilance and internal peace? Some of you might look at it as baggage. I look at it as preparedness, especially in South Africa today. We've got to have our head on a swivel. Many of our kids nowadays are playing games which you can shoot somebody in the head and you can die and then you can respawn. There's no physical or mental or emotional consequence to that. We need to keep our kids aware of the threats that are potentially out there. When my son was growing up at school, many of the teachers in the prep phases were women. Now, women have a nurturing mindset. Dads have a warrior mindset. These boys are warriors. As a son starts developing 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, we as dads need to turn them outwards to face these threats. They need to be turned away from their mothers and not taken away from their mothers, but turned away so they can understand these threats. It's important for us to create an awareness in their minds mentally that they're prepared. I always teach my son, make sure the curtains are closed at certain hours. Understand that noises are different. Understand that at 1:30 to 2:30 in the morning, that's when people are going to try and mess with you in your house. Understand that. Listen for noises. Be vigilant. Be aware. It is our job as dads to turn our sons outward to face these things. Thirdly, how do we create the balance? Must I live in fear? Must I live with intrepidation in South Africa? No. I think to be prepared mentally is 90% of the battle won. Yes, we may or may not have weapons in the house. You don't know the weapons I have. I've got a couple. Have I got armed response? Yes. Armed response is critical in today's day and age because I can. I have the ability, the financial means, the mental fortitude to do it. And I'm not too proud to say that I'm going to handle anybody that comes and attacks my house. I do want an external service provider, security service provider, to have my back as well, just like my mates had my back on the border or while we were doing training. But how do I create the balance? How do I maintain the balance? I do know as a Christian that life is eternal. I do know that we will face threats in South Africa and anywhere else in the world. I could drive in a car and get killed, and it's not a huge fate issue. It just happened. It was an accident. But there are things that I can do to prepare my family and myself to maintain a certain amount of vigilance, but also to maintain a balance of peace. I'm not going to live in my house as a jail. I don't want to do that. My wife and I went for a walk on the beach. It was a secluded spot, and we saw a whole lot of guys coming to us. Now, my wife's a black belt karate, and I had a weapon on me, and I'm not going to tell you what it was, but we were outnumbered 2 to 6 guys. Now, my wife and I prepared. We were having a glass of wine, and I said to her, are we going to make we being put in a spot? I could see them coming, but the moment we got up and if we wanted to get up and walk away, we would have been in trouble. We would have been caught. So we saw them too late, and our escape plan was kind of shut off. So we didn't know whether they were a threat or not. But my wife prepared herself. She had the bottle of wine. I had my weapon on me, and we were ready to take them on. We looked at each other and said, we can either run or we look and we face and we stand. We stand our ground. And the threat came, and it wasn't a threat. It was 6 guys who who had been scuba diving, and they walked past us, they waved at us, and both my wife and I were prepared. We weren't going to sit down and just assume that this is a lovely little sunset and stuff like that. You also got to be aware. You got to have wisdom. I will use my SADF training, and if it is hypervigilance, so be it. But there's an inner peace where understanding that as a Christian, there is a heaven, there is an eternity. That's my inner peace. Teach your kids the same. Turn your sons towards the threat. Keep them emotionally and mentally vigilant. And you'll be preparing them to face some of the new threats that are coming and that are around.